Hello, good afternoon, guys. Hope you're having a good one. Okay, I'm going to talk about oil fires today. Not the kind of oil like in the Middle East, but oil as in fat in the kitchen. So this is actually kind of fun for me because I asked my grandmother about this, and she had an old saying that I didn't quite realize what it meant until just now, and that was, the fat is on the fire in the kitchen, beware. And this basically says that when you're cooking with oil, you have to constantly watch it. If you don't watch it, if you leave it alone, if you mess up, it can burst into flames and then you have a really bad day. So, fires in the kitchen lead to close to 40% of all house fires in the U.S. 40%. And about 60% of all those fires in the kitchen are related to oil fires. Oil fires can be started by a whole lot of means. I'll get into that later, but what's surprising is that water is oil's best friend. Do not use water on an oil fire, and I will show you what happens when you do a little later on. So, what causes oil fires? A whole lot of reasons. One, untended oil. I actually had a friend of mine who was British, came here from England, from London, and he was going to make fish and chips one night, but he forgot the vinegar, which is important to the fish and chips. So he left the oil unattended on the stove, came back, his house was in flames. Which is, well, sad, because he just moved here and put his heart and everything, so, yeah, pretty sad. Another thing is in the oven. Yes, oil can burst into flames in the oven as well, because some people will actually put the oven on clean, which is a very high heat setting to burn all the food residue in the oven. And if you don't notice it and you leave it alone, I'm pretty sure all the water can dry out of the food, and the oil you use, maybe butter, maybe canola oil, or just fat from the actual food itself, can burst into flames. And when you open the oven, you feed oxygen to the flame so you can get a small whoosh. Happened to me as well. Lost an eyebrow. Wasn't very fun. And then the flame could hit the oil directly. You could have too small of a pan or too shallow of a pan, too much oil and too high a heat, so the flame actually hits the oil directly. That can actually cause a big whoosh as well. So, on to water. And how would you, or why, sorry, would water be so crucial to setting oil fires even larger? And that is, water doesn't mix with oil at all. They are two separate fluids. When you put oil in the water, you can see the oil stays itself. It doesn't mix at all, no matter how much you put it in. And what happens is, when you throw water onto a flaming pot of oil, the water instantly vaporizes, turning into steam, causing a very violent reaction. I'll show you. So, here's an example of what happens when you put water on an oil fire. Whoosh! Yes, that is exactly what happens. And the reason why that happens is because when the water turns to steam, it captures the oil molecules, which are on fire, and it spreads it everywhere, causing the fire to spread exponentially. So instead of having a fire in the pan, now you have a fire on the ceiling, on the cabinet, on you, most likely, and it can get really bad really quick. So some of you might ask, how do you put out oil fires? And if you could, what would you use? Well, it's pretty simple. You just would use flour. Flour would actually absorb the oil, starting the fire of fuel. You could put a lid on the pot, which again would start the fire of air, starting it of fuel. Or you could use a flame retardant from a fire extinguisher. Everyone here should have a fire extinguisher, a working fire extinguisher, in your kitchen at all times. That is your best friend. Don't forget it. And the flame retardant foam acts like flour. It absorbs the oil to the point where the flame can't burn anything anymore. But there will be instances where the fire can't be fought by you. I've learned this. Yes, I have. You are not a hero. Don't try to be one. If the fire is too large for you to handle, get the hell out of the house. Don't try and fight it. Because I had a friend again who had a fire, tried to fight it, made it worse, and his house burned down. It wasn't very cool. So, I hope I've showed you today what is an oil fire. I hope I showed you how dangerous it can be. I hope I've informed you how not to use water, because water may seem like a good idea on fire, but not oil fires. But again, I ask that if you ever do encounter an oil fire, if you ever are in a situation where you have to fight one and it's too large for you to handle, please just call the fire department, get out of the house, handle it that way. Hope that you have insurance. If you don't, then that's your fault, sorry. But again, oil fires are a leading cause of kitchen fires. I've experienced them a few times in my life. I've had friends who've experienced them a few times in my life, so I just want to get the word out to you guys, and hopefully with this information, you can be prepared for whatever comes your way.
Thank you. Hold off the ending nuts. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. You seem to have a fascination with fires.
Well, I have to be about a few times.
Well, you're the one who had the burning sweater too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Fire likes me, I don't know why.
It's attractive to you, I guess. Some questions from my audience. Some questions. Oh, come on. People need to ask some questions.
I was trying to heat up something. I was wee little, and Mom would always leave for law school, so I would have to fend for myself. And usually times I would try to cook, which is where I learned to cook and learned to be safe about it. But I figured I was cooking, but whatever it was, it caught flame in the oven. I had it on too high a heat, and when I opened the oven door, whoosh! This huge ball of flame came flying up at my face, and I lost my eyebrows, which wasn't fun.
Did the police have to come? I mean, the fire department have to come?
It wasn't anything severe,
It went bad.
but it still scared to the point where I pretty much went myself. Yeah. I was only 8, so... And I learned not to put water in oil. When I was about 10, I learned that from Emeril Lagasse that if you put water in oil, you can learn when it's actually ready to be cooked or be used for cooking. But I didn't know it was a sprinkle of water. So I got a whole glass of water and dumped it in there, and it blew up everywhere. And I had to clean the house, and Mom was pretty unhappy.
I guess so. Another question for Cameron.
Is your eyebrow back?
Yeah, it happened 13 years ago.
Yeah, a while ago. Okay, let's have a hand for Cameron.